John Lesker of Lesker Archery Adventures. Series testing, successful hunting. Today I'm going to be testing another Swhacker. I love saying that, Swhacker. I used to say Swhacker, and a lot of people corrected me. Thank you for the correction. Can learn a lot from the feedback of others. But now I say it right, Swhacker, because it makes that sound swack when it hits. But I've tested a lot of Swhackers over the years. Almost all of them, not quite all of them, because there's just so many, and they each go by a different number because there's so many they just couldn't come up with names for each one of them. But this is the model number 219, and it's the crossbow model, which all the crossbow model means is it has a fatter base of the ferrule that lines up to be flush with a crossbow bolt. I prefer using the crossbow models because I have an extra wide collar on my arrows, so it lines up perfectly. But any crossbow model can be used with a vertical bow and be just as effective. So if you look at two and they're the same, you get a better price on the crossbow model and you're shopping for your vertical bow, go ahead and get it because it really doesn't make a difference anyway. So anyway, this is the 219, the crossbow version, and it has a cut of 1 3/4 inches as opposed to 2 or greater, kind of like a smaller cut designed for maximum penetration. So we're going to put this head to the test using my regimen for 2025. And for a detailed description of that, please check out the video that I posted earlier this year called 2025 Broadhead Test Process. And it'll walk you through why I do what I do and how I do it and how I quantify it and score it and so forth. And for most of the shooting, I'm using my Elite Carbon Eon. That, man, I am just loving this bow. I've used it a lot in the field as well and taken a lot of animals with it. It's been fantastic. Then for the flight testing, I'm using my Killer Instinct LogiX 435 crossbow. For all the shooting, I'm using Bishop Archery, arrows, and bolts. Okay, let's zoom on in here, go through some of the design features and specifications, and then put this Swhacker to the test. Here's a good look at this broadhead and just the classic Swhacker design. Let's start with the materials. It's got an aluminum ferrule, and then it's got stainless steel blades that are 0.032 inches thick. And then it's got this hardened steel chisel tip right there. In the open position, it's got a cutting diameter of 1.75 inches, plus this cross cut, just if you include it in the tip itself, of 0.2 inches, so total cut of 1.95 inches. Now, the way it works, like every Swhacker, the blades are held in place by this band in the front, pretty tight, strong band right there, and as it hits and cuts, this initial blades cut right here, they're single bevel blades just to make them easy to resharpen, but they cut, have an initial cut of about an inch right there, and then this band is broken through. And then here's the head in the fully open position after that band is broken through and the blades are fully deployed. And so what they have is they have what they call the virgin blades. The main blades are virgin blades, meaning the initial impact into the hide, which dulls the blade significantly, is absorbed by these blades. And then after it punches through the hide, these blades fold back, and then you've got a fresh cutting blade right there. Now, these are double bevel, but a fresh cutting blade right there to cut through the rest of the medium. And as for resharpening, I would use the Stay Sharp guide called The Answer. It would work really well with this broadhead. So really cool design, pretty straightforward, classic design if you know the Swhacker. Eager to put this head to the test and see how it performs. The Swhacker got the bullseye. It only took 116 grams of force to cut through the wire, which is a 10 on a 10-point scale, plus a bonus of 0.84 for being under the threshold of 200. It penetrated 8 inches, And the initial hole is just the diameter of those blades in the closed position. The blade's fully open by the time they hit the gel, and they remained open the entire time. They're going to get penalized half a point for that last inch or so of penetration just being with that long, narrow tip. It's still a benefit to have that penetration. It's just not fair to compare that to other heads where the blades are actually cutting tissue as they go through. It took an additional 33 grams of force to cut through the wire, which is a 9.34 on a 10-point scale. And in addition to that, it's going to get a 2-point bonus for both the sharpness and the edge retention being under the threshold of 200. It penetrated through 49 layers, which is a 7 on a 10-point scale, but it's going to get a slight penalty for more than an inch of that cut being just from that long, narrow tip and not from the blades themselves. The head is in perfect condition after the 3 shots through the MDF. The 2 initial blades broke off upon impact on the steel plate. You can see that on the shot at the top. And then I went ahead and shot it again anyway, and you can see it held up quite well during that shot. But in the closed position, those 2 blades just broke off on the first shot. Here it is after all the durability testing. It did really well through the MDF, the 3 shots in the MDF, and then in the steel plate, it lost both of these initial blades that impact the steel plate. And then I went ahead and shot it into the cinder block just to see what would happen. And here's the result. The blades stayed intact because they didn't hit the cinder block, and the tip got bent off and broke there. So what'd you think? Yeah, I think it performed pretty well. I mean, I don't think it was the best Swhacker, and there seems to be somewhat of an inconsistency when it comes to sharpness and durability. I don't know if that's just a quality control issue or what, but this one performed relatively well. You know, they fly really good and had decent sharpness in this model and decent penetration, decent durability. It's certainly worth a look. So you check out the score sheet and see how it performed in the areas that matter to you the most, and see if this might be a good fit for you. And stay tuned for the overall cumulative score as well as the corresponding Lusk grade. And stay tuned for a list of all the discount codes I can offer just to help you save some money on your next Broadhead purchase. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you next time.